Experience tranquility. Pass into the iris.
Good evening, everybody, and welcome back to the Iris Podcast. I'm your host, Bowsy. Joining me here today, once again, we have the amazing Mr. Yeti and the wonderful Thuggington. How are you two doing on this fine Monday evening?
Did you hear that?
So good. I'm so good.
We're amazing and wonderful.
God, it's gonna be a good day.
It's gonna be a good day.
Gonna be one heck of a good day. We have a lot to cover today. Only a short amount of time to do it, so let's try to rush through it. Starting off, of course, earlier today, we had our Harmony EU Finals match. Congratulations to Aesir to winning that match. We would go more into that, however, we have a lot to cover here. Starting with our weekly montage. Of course, this is our final montage of the season, excluding our finals montages. Shout out to Iconic for making this week's montage to close out the regular montages this season.
Headshot. Double.
One. No bell. Hog slow. Big shatter.
Welcome back, everybody. Thank you again, Iconic, for that amazing montage this week. Very emotional music and a lot of emotional moments as we head into what are the final 2 weeks of the regular season. Things are starting to get intense, and this week is going to be the most intense as we crown our Transcendence Tier champion this Wednesday. The Decapitators are facing off against the Devil Dukes to determine who is your Season 9 champion. Quick predictions from our analysts here. First off, Mr. Yeti, who do you predict is winning the Transcendence Tier championship this season?
You know, admittedly, I have a good amount of friends in the Decapitators, so obviously I have a lot of personal
bias.
And just to be perfect, I'll be perfectly honest and admit that I have personal bias because I have good friends in the Decapitators, and not so much with the Devil Dukes. I will say this: I think the improvement that we've seen by the Devil Dukes this season has been pretty incredible. We saw them take a couple of tough losses earlier on the season to both Arctic Foxes and Amnesia. They just didn't look like the Devil Dukes that we're used to seeing here in the Transcendence tier, but they're just they have come so far this season, and it's an amazing improvement. What stands out to me is if I look at the significant change in the performance that we've seen from both GLD and Vix, both of them have become absolutely fantastic. Just in general right now, it is it has been just a fantastic a season in general for Devil Dukes on the comeback here. But Vix and GLD both have just been outstanding this season. They've been absolutely blown away with what's going on here.
Yeah, definitely. Going to be interesting to see how those two go out there between these two. Obviously, two very different teams throughout the entirety of the season, so we'll see how that works out. Thuggington, what about your thoughts on this finals match?
If I'm going to be incredibly biased, I'm gonna be real honest. I know very little about either of these teams, but Navino's stinky, Smugs is handsome. I picked Decapitators.
I mean,
deep. I know this is why people come to the podcast and why they are, looking for me on the podcast, because I add so much depth. I add so much raw analysis. I take in all the information. I am really just a reservoir of knowledge, and that's what I'm here for. And that's Decapitators. Smugs is handsome.
Yeah, Decapitators obviously showing a strong performance last week against the Guangzhou Gangsters. Obviously, there were some good moments in that match, especially Cam's punch off the map, that 4K that might have made the rounds a little bit on social media out there, but still be interesting to see how that goes out. Definitely will be an interesting match. I'm really excited to watch it. I went with this team to predict to win the championship. I say they're still going to do it. I think the Decapitators are taking out the Devil Dukes and claiming that championship for themselves. But, of course, our Transcendence Tier Finals are this Wednesday at currently 8 p.m. Eastern Standard Time. You don't want to miss it as we crown another champion in the Transcendence Tier. Another unique champion as well. I'm pretty sure we have not had a repeat Transcendence Tier champion in our entirety as a Tranquility, unless I'm mistaken on that. But history, we'd have to remember the trivia show from last week to make sure that that's the case.
You said for repeat champions?
Repeat champions in Transcendence Tier, yes.
We haven't had that. No, I don't believe so.
Yeah, there you go. So it's another unique champion adding to the history book. So definitely be a fun one to watch. But of course, with this late in the season, we've had a lot of teams, unfortunately, not be able to make it this far. And so we honor those teams that have been eliminated throughout the tournament thus far with a special section we like to call In Memoriam. To all of those teams that got eliminated, we thank you for participating in Season 9 of Tranquility. And to Toxic, I'm sorry.
No, you're not.
Can we
Okay,
get,
fair,
Toxic
I'm not.
Blade 47 is bad in chat, please.
Yeah,
Toxic
can we
Blade
spam
47
that in the
is bad.
chat? Can we spam that in the chat?
Just
Thank
get a
you all.
little bit of Toxic Blade 47 is bad in the chat. Just
Yeah,
a little bit of it.
Just I would
Just
say
a
tasteful
smidge.
amount.
Yeah,
A
a
tasteful
tasteful
amount.
amount.
A little bit. Just a tiny sip of it. Not too much. But definitely, thank you all so much for participating in Tranquility this season. If you're asking where Aimbots was, they were last week in Memoriam, so you can check out that VOD from last week where they were in last week's In Memoriam. But we hope all the teams that were in that video will be returning for Season 10. Speaking of Season 10,
What, dude? What a segue.
what a
God.
segue indeed.
This is why he's the host of the Iris. Sorry.
Give me the
Sorry.
papers.
I give everybody the vapors here, but yes, speaking of Season 10, don't take that out of context, everybody. Or do. I don't know at this point. This show is derailed. I'm going to try to put it back on the rails by saying it's time for the Season 10 info drop, everybody. It is time to reveal everything about Season 10 as we enter the double digits of the Tranquility Gaming season numbers. We have some news to discuss. Not a lot compared to last season, but still some noteworthy news to go over. Mr. Yeti, I think it's only fair by starting with the most important information of all. When are we starting Season 10?
We're not. Bye. No, in all seriousness, Season 10 is going to be starting this season on the week of February 27th of 2023. It's going to be roughly 2 months or so after the completion of this season. It's a little bit of a shorter off season this time around. Just trying to get the next season in well ahead of the July 4th holiday. So a little bit of a quick turnaround here for us, but we have a big staff right now, so I don't think that's anything we're not going to be able to handle.
Absolutely. So mark it on your calendars. February 27th, 2023 will be the first week of Season 10. It's going to be an interesting week, obviously starting right at the end of February. A little bit of a shorter off season, so get those rosters prioritized regardless of which. Make sure you stay tuned to be able to make that first date. You mentioned staff there, Mr. Yeti, and I think that's even a better segue into our first section, which is our changes to the staff team this next season.
Yeah. So first and foremost, a lot of you are probably already aware of this, but Booth has let us know they will be retiring from our staff. They have been incredible here. We wouldn't be where we are without them. There's just no question about it. But Booth is busy. He's going to be a college professor. He's teaching a class that's going to be running into the evenings for a lot of his nights here. And honestly, we can't thank him enough. He's receiving a special advisory role because of the impact he's had here. You know, if you're looking at the quote unquote Tranquility Mount Rushmore, he's on it. And he's just, he has done incredible for us. I know, speaking for Cav, who founded this thing, we would be nowhere near where we are without him. And I think if you ask anybody on the Twitch team who's been here for a long time, they'll tell you the same thing. They will all tell you the same thing for sure. I'll save the other one for Thug, but Apathy also let us know he's going to be dropping off the staff team this coming season here as well. So leaving the assistant tier director and moderating position that he had for us this season. Nothing but good things to say about Apathy either. Obviously, he didn't have nearly as long of a stay on the staff as Booth. So obviously we wish Apathy the best. We want him to, we definitely want him to be continuing to be an active member in this community and a big part of this community. I'm sure he will be, just won't be a member or representative of the staff moving forward.
Yeah, absolutely. Definitely sad to see Booth go, and Apathy obviously leaving as well. Had a short tenure on the mod team compared to Booth, but still going to be missing him and his contributions this season. But Thuggington, there's also a recognizable name I see here on this list of staff updates.
Screw you guys, I quit. I hate it. You just make my life hell. It sucks.
All right, I'm going to remove you from the scene. Okay, there we go. He quit.
Bye,
Never mind,
losers.
he's back. Never mind, he's back.
No, I am stepping down as Harmony tier director this season. It has been, when did I take over? Season 3?
Season 3 when we split is when you
season 3 is when I took over, and I've been doing it for 7 long seasons, and I felt it was an appropriate time to to let go of control of that. It's been a blessing and an honor to help kind of the fledglings into the community. There's a lot of names that have come across my computer screen. Um, a lot of people that are still really active into Transcendence tier, moving up out of the community. So yeah, it's been fun.
But he's not going far.
No.
He can't. He's not going
Oh,
far.
no.
You want to mention what you're doing next season?
Yes. So while you might be seeing less of me in that sense, you're going to be seeing a whole hell of a lot more of me. I am taking over as the content creation team leader, director,
Whatever
guy,
you call it.
producer.
Producer?
Ooh, producer. That sounds really fancy. So, yeah, I'm going to be taking over the content team and prying this from Yeti's cold, dead hands. And really, I'm the only personality that could stand up to Yeti and do this, and who he wouldn't fight, or that would
Brother,
fight
ain't
back with
nobody
him.
standing
So
up to me. That's all I'm saying. I'm like a foot taller than you too. Shit.
that is very true. So yeah, there's going to be a lot of new and exciting things. The goal is to keep a lot of the mainstays, predicting the Iris podcast, keep those there and really add some depth and some personality, some flair to the rest of it. And you may or may not see me host a show myself. So stand by for news on that. We have a lot of fun things that we want to do, some short form content. You may be seeing a whole hell of a lot more of me. You will see a whole hell of a lot more. And I'll grow my mustache back so everyone can shut up.
Yeah.
You're gonna hate every second of it.
Oh, I already do.
But yeah, and obviously with us, I'll kind of segue into this next part, Bowsy. But we obviously with losing those staff members, we have a lot of holes to fill. Plus, we obviously lost a little bit of staff members during the season last season. We filled some of our moderating positions already. That's Saya, Bowsy, Aura. But you see here lots of updates. First and foremost, Sneaky Kitten is being promoted to the Harmony NA tier director. We're beyond excited about that. That is, she has been working her tail off consistently in all of our feedback forums.
She's a cat.
Yeah, that's funny. Consistently, she's been one of our top performing admins in all of our feedback forums. It's well deserved. She's worked her way here, no question about it. She's going to do fantastic with the tier in her hands. Quickly going through the rest of the list here. Skyflower has been an EU moderator this season. They'll be taking over the Harmony tier EU direction moving into next season, with Yoshi still working as the tier director for Discord EU and hopefully looking to build back up that EU bracket a little bit more and see what we can do to try to get that back up and running here this season. One thing that's not highlighted on here, but I think a lot of people probably figure it's happening because it kind of was already the case this season anyways. Yeah. Laggy is going to be moving into the Twitch manager role, with Aura taking over as the assistant Twitch manager. Aura just jumped in as a moderator this season. You've already seen a ton of his work that you probably aren't even aware that he's been doing.
Right.
He's been doing so much behind the scenes for our tech and everything. He's been outstanding. So he's going to do a great job here with us, working with Laggy to help improve our production. There's so many plans we have there, guys. You're going to be blown away with what you're going to see in the future here in Tranquility's production. A couple new names here as well. Big shout outs to these two. They've been a huge part of our community, guys. Try and Glitch both stepping in. Try as the assistant tier director in Discord NA, and Glitch as the Discord tier director or assistant director in Harmony NA. Guys, I mean, they are they've both been here for a very long time. And they've been huge positive contributors to the community. I mean, Thug, you know them. They will without doubt be fantastic here.
Yeah, I think Try and Glitch are going to be really good additions to the team. Both very organized, having dealt with them indirectly through helping out with Nostalgia Org and then being in the organization. Both are very organized, very easy to get along with, level-headed. Can't say enough about the two of them. I'm really excited to see what they bring to the team. lowers our age by a lot too.
But it does raise our SR for staff pugs.
Yes.
There you
Also,
go, yep.
We are gonna roll staff pugs this season, loser. Next season, losers.
Get
You
rolled,
just wait.
kids. Get rolled.
You just wait. You are gonna get rolled. You are gonna get stomped. But anyways, but in all seriousness, we're thrilled to have these guys and try. Glitch, they are both just incredible. So cannot say enough positive about these guys. And then also Sneaky and Skyflower, we're really excited to see them promoted to their positions as well. So
Sneaky's is probably the staff member we get the least amount of complaints about, and by least I mean none. Sneaky's gonna be awesome. I'm really excited to have her take over of Harmony tier. Cannot go to a better person. There was no hesitation when it's like, this is it. This is the right decision. This is awesome.
Seriously, the conversation literally with Cav was like, so what are we going to do? Sneaky? Yeah, Sneaky. Cool. Done. All right, cool. All right, great. Awesome. Perfect. So that was the easy one. That was easy. But some more updates. Bowsy, I'm kind of stealing your segues here. I'm very sorry about that.
No worries. No worries. But, I'm guessing now we're done with the staff updates. Right? All right.
We're done with the new personnel.
Now it's time. Now with the staff updates out of the way, that's every sort of staff update here. It's time to move down to the community aspect because we do have some overarching community changes that are coming into effect this next season, Mr. Yeti.
Yep, just a couple, and a lot of these are minor things, but some of it we just feel like are necessary for the quality of life in the community, as well as improving our inclusivity. We're gonna be right now the roster sheets only have room for he, she, or he, him, she, her, or they, them. We're to basically be just wiping out the drop downs and just say, if you need to customize them for whatever pronouns you identify as, that will be on a roster sheet. We want to improve our inclusivity to have that, so that'll be part of our roster sheets here moving forward into next season. In addition to that, you'll also be seeing weekly match sheets consolidated into a master sheet. That's in the process of being done by Aura. We want to take everything, put it together in a nice, neat package for you. We want to improve quality of life for everybody. That's really important for us going into next season. And again, I got to give a huge shout out to Aura. He's been really, really diving into these spreadsheets for us, really trying to make them more user-friendly for everybody involved. And he's just killing it. So that is that's on his back here, and you're seeing some fantastic work from Aura there, and I can't wait to show you guys what those end up looking like. Minor thing here, teams, get your color codes for your teams, because we're going to be using those for graphics that we'll be using for our production package. And then last but not least, if you are an artist or a graphic designer, we are looking for some volunteers right now. I don't know if you guys knew this. Cav has a kid, brand new baby, and we're trying to take a little bit of the artwork off of his shoulders, because he's been doing pretty much everything you see is on Cav's shoulders. So we're trying to get a little bit more help their way. So if you are able to volunteer just a slight bit of help with that, there's a post and announcements from Cav with a sign up for people who are able to help. We're not looking for extraordinarily professional, we're not needing somebody who's already a professional in the field. If you just have a hobby, it's a great place to kind of get your feet wet more, because we'll help you out. We'll get you the tools you need to succeed. So
yeah, if graphic design is your passion, this is the place for you.
But for real.
Yeah, but for real, if it is actually your passion. If you're really interested in graphic design, if you want to help out Tranquility in a way that we haven't been able to really offer it before, this is your best opportunity. And also, I can say for Mr. Yeti's point on the match sheets, yeah, they look good. Those new match sheets are going to look really good next season. I'm excited as much as Mr. Yeti is for you guys to see those new match sheets, courtesy of Aura. But now, with the general community updates out of the way, those being, the pronouns and the consolidation, the better quality of life aspects, because everyone loves quality of life aspects, let's go over the updates to our tiers, Mr. Yeti. What giant updates are we having to all of our tiers next season?
Now, a lot of people are going to be really upset because we are making some huge, significant changes in that they're basically none. It's basically the same thing. We're happy with the tier breakdown right now. We like where it's at. The difference is, obviously, we have to adapt to the new ranking system, which is in place as of now. Who knows what it's going to be tomorrow? Thank you, Blizzard. But at the same time, we are mostly going to be keeping it the same. There's obviously going to be a little bit of math up and down, like how it's going to end up working out. But fortunately for you, we have a calculator that you can just figure it out for yourself, whether or not your team qualifies.
Yep.
So if you actually go to the website tranquilitygg.com,
I just put it on the it in the chat.
Tranquility.gg.
Calculator.
Yeah.
Yep.
You go there, Laggy and Aura put this together, guys. You plug in your team's ranks, you're good.
Yep.
That's it.
There you go. It calculates your average. Bing bang
It
boom.
literally
Done.
it could not be easier, guys. We are thrilled with this, to be honest with you. Yeah, we are absolutely thrilled. It's a wonderful quality of life change for the community. SRs are roughly the same. They're not exactly the same because obviously we can't find, half rankings and all this stuff. That's not something we can do anymore. So some of the numbers have shifted just ever so, like 50 SR up and down if you were using the old language. I believe Harmony tier kind of moved 50 SR up. Discord tier was able to say the same. I think Transcendence tier is technically moving 50 SR up as well. But we're gonna look at all the numbers, make sure it's all fine-tuned here. It's kind of all in process. So just understand that there's a little bit of leeway right now with how it's all working out, but we have a ton of work going into that, and that's part of the reason why we have the calculator, is because we don't want there to be mystery. If you use the calculator, it will literally tell you why you don't qualify for a tier. So it tells you, it spits it out. It's a beautiful thing. It's great. It's great. We're thrilled with it. So
yeah, definitely. We're very excited to have this calculator online. It makes it so much easier. No longer do you have to constantly type 4 digits per player and then multiply it and then hope to God you fall within the range that you need to. Nope. Now it's a simple process. I honestly think it's the only positive thing of a ranking system right now in Overwatch 2. Makes our lives 500 times easier to sort out all your SR. Makes everybody's lives easier. So, and now you have this amazing calculator that does all the work for you. Just enter in the numbers and then you are set to get your tiers in there. So if you want to make sure that you get your team set up for Tranquility next season, Season 10, utilize that calculator because it is going to be the best way to be able to determine where your team is eligible, if they are eligible. But that is it for the general updates. Now, unfortunately, comes the plain white graphics as we head into the actual rulebook, Mr. Yeti. Starting off with the first page here listed.
Yep. So first page here, what you're looking at is the just kind of, again, just updating our language to reflect the current tournament structure. The big thing I want to highlight here is that second part. It's hard to see, but what it says is that in the event of a major scheduled patch that's going to happen on any given day, we reserve the right to reschedule matches to a different day of the week. Effectively, it's come up because now the game is a live service game and it's being patched a lot more. Knock on the nearest wooden surface. They're talking about a patch this week for like a hotfix patch to fix some numbers. We'll see if it happens, but hey, that's great if it does. But that being said, what we're looking at here, it's basically just an opportunity for us for major content patches, like the big mid-season patches, the patch between season, for us to be able to say as staff, guys, we don't feel like it's responsible for us to have a tournament day this day. Your matches are going to be forwarding over to another day of the week. However, if you want to choose with an agreement with your opponent to play on the patch day, you can, but that's at your own risk. We're going to be doing it to where we have that directly sorted out here. Or we're going to have that. So we sort it out and just kind of not put anybody to the fire here unintentionally and screw people over because of server problems or anything like that. I did want to answer a question here. PDK. Yes, that's exactly correct. It's Diamond 2 to Masters 1. It's the highest Masters with Masters 3 of the average. Yes, we got there. Cool. All right. Just wanted to be sure we were all there. Yeah. Yeah. Well, I mean, you forget about ranks so much when you've been in GM for the past 2 months. So, anyways, cough. Anyways, moving on then to the next part here. I don't know if you had a whole lot for that.
No.
Cool. All right.
Pretty straightforward.
That next part indeed, which is going to be, I believe, about map pools and late teams.
Yes. Map pool, just a quick little clause mentioned here, just basically saying that because the maps types, the games might change, like the way that they put out maps and stuff for ranked might change. So basically it's just us saying like we can change it if that's what we need to do. Like we reserve the right to do that because it's a live service game now. It's a long season. We can't just pretend that that's going to be what it stays and assume that's going to be okay. Right. We don't want to sit there and rely on that. So basically we're not just going to do it willy-nilly. We're not going to do it because it seems fun. That's not the goal, but the goal is if they put a new type of game into the game, we're going to find a way to incorporate that into our matches if possible. But we'll sort that out and we'll see what the best solution is when those times happen. But basically that's just there to help sort through how we're going to be handling that. Yes, we're going to play push that season, next season. And that's not going away.
Sorry.
Unless they take it away. If they take it away, then it won't be back. You all have very bad rose-colored glasses thinking that 2CP was fun. Just saying. 2CP was a trash mode. Everybody hated it. No.
Push is only a little bit better than.
Yeah, it's only a little bit better. No, I agree, but it is y'all just wild for thinking that 2CP was actually an enjoyable time. It was terrible.
Yeah.
Horizon Lunar Colony was a great map though. I will stand by that.
It was like a hospital to me, but
now this second part here is really important, guys. We had some teams just flat out abusing being late at times this season, and it just was unfair. It just was unfair. So what we're going to be doing is we're going to be modifying how we approach late teams. So the match is going to start at 7:30 or 8:30. Pardon me. I'm in Central Time. Deal with it. Matches will start at 8:30 or the agreed upon time. If the match isn't started and one of the teams is there, first you start exhausting timeouts. And then 10 minutes after the scheduled map time, the late team is going to forfeit that first map. That's it. No question about it. 15 minutes, it's 2 maps. No question about it. 20 minutes, it's done. We're done dealing with this whole, like, you can wait until 20 minutes before. It used to be 21 minutes and then you forfeit nothing before then. We're not going to do that anymore. It's just not fair to keep people waiting for almost 20 minutes and then just be like, okay, we're starting without any sort of repercussions. You're wasting everybody's time. It's really unfair. So we're not going to be tolerating that anymore. So we will be instituting a more strict late policy here. So just please be aware that that's what's going to happen. If there is a situation where you will be having or where you're dealing with a late team, you need to talk to us as staff. You need to reach out to the staff on call so we can moderate the situation. We don't want you guys to have to moderate it. Let us do the dirty work for you. You just let us know that things are happening. We will step in and we will moderate the situation.
There you go.
I think it's important to note is these are guidelines, so we have a fallback. Most teams, if you just talk to them, don't care. So I always default to try to work it out. If you're the GM of a team, then the other team's late, cut them some slack. It could be you next time. End of the day, we want people to play. We don't want to have to force forfeits. But if you don't know all people, then there's something to fall back on that is a little more advantageous and helpful to those that have been patient. So,
if you have questions, feel free to add them in the chat. We'll do our best to answer them throughout the night here, guys.
Yep, I see you already answering Formless's question there, so that answers that one. But yeah, pretty much.
For those who might not be seeing the chat, Formless asked if they are not adding 10 minutes in addition to the timeouts. It's just 10 minutes straight, and yes, that's exactly what it is. So,
yep, there you go. So don't have to worry too much about that this season. All right, with the map pool now being done, we're going to be heading over now to the next rule, which I have here, which is about reporting matches and as well new heroes clauses that we're adding next season.
Super quick, just to kind of go through this results reporting. We had a couple incidents this season where teams weren't filling in the replay codes and they forfeited their match as a result. I'm not naming names. Toxic. But it did happen, and basically we're going to be instituting a more clear policy on this. So what's going to happen is you're going to have you're responsible for submitting it by 24 hours after your match is complete. If it's not done before then or not done in that time frame, your result is just forfeit. And it's not going to be in question. It's just done. It's just done. That's just it. It's just done. No argument about it. You had your chance. You blew it. Submit your match codes immediately. That is just exactly what's going to happen. I see a few questions that just popped into chat, guys. We'll talk about some of those questions as we get further along. I'm not ignoring you. I hear you, but you'll get those answers later when we talk about some of those things. So try to stay relatively with what we're talking about right now if you can. If we will have time for questions at the end. So just hang on just a minute, guys. We see you. We're listening. We just need to kind of get through some other things here, and we'll cover those. I promise you that, guys. Laura, Polar, Cam, I see all of you guys. So we'll talk soon. Just hang in there.
Yeah.
So yeah, replay codes, just get them done. This is not a question. We're done fighting you guys on it. It's got to get done. And if you don't get it done, you lose your win. It's done and done.
Yeah.
Don't put us in that spot. That is the end of it.
Yeah, get the replay codes done or else you lose. You're finished. Good day, sir. I definitely got that quote wrong, but you get the point. You will not be submitted as the winner of that match. Just to make it simple, just so it's in the rules and that you know that you have to do it. You can even do it during your match. There is that opportunity that you can just get the replay codes, and then just put them in the document during your match. So you can do it whenever. Just make sure it's done in that 24-hour span. As well on this page, Mr. Yeti, new heroes.
Yes. So basically, we've always had this kind of rule, but it's never been actually written. So now we're writing it. Heroes will be available once they're in competitive play. That's the way we've always done it, and that's the way we're going to continue to do it. This is a live service game. We will be falling in line with the way the game is made and with the way the game is intended to be played at a competitive level. Obviously, this does lead to some potentially awkward timing. We're aware of that, but that's just part of the nature of the game. We aren't going to sit here and make exceptions to rules in certain circumstances. Now, if teams want to have some sort of agreement to not play a certain hero or to play a certain hero who may or may not be eligible, that's between them, and that's not our business. We aren't going to get involved in that scenario. So the example that's going to come up is Ramatra will be available for Tranquility Finals for Harmony and Discord tier. But is that, and that's going to be the case. That's our ruling, is they can be used because it's been 2 weeks. They're available in comp. You can use them. If the teams don't want to let him be a part of it, that's between the teams to discuss. But we're going to take a consistent stance as opposed to making a unique exception for a scenario, because then you make one exception here, then suddenly, well, what if it's 2 weeks? What if it's 3 weeks? It's just, it's not something we want to go down. We want to stay consistent. We want to stay with a ruling here. And if the teams want to have a different agreement when they get to that final stage, they can absolutely go ahead and say, you know what, we're not playing Ramatra in this match. We're just not ready for it. And that's okay. That is perfectly fine. You do you, boo-boo. We will not be bothered or offended by it.
Yeah, definitely. In a way, this clause for like allowing or not allowing a hero in is basically like our teabag rule that we've initiated this season, where teams can agree to have that sort of thing initiated or to not associate or like not initiate unless it's a specific situation. So here, it's the same thing. You can agree to have Ramatra or a new hero be played, or you cannot, and this allows us now to stop getting asked, hey, is this hero eligible for matches? Hey,
this isn't going to stop. This isn't going to stop anything. Y'all can't read.
Honestly, this is probably the most a lot of these people who are current GMs have read the rules, is because we're reading them to them.
Yeah, that's sad how true that is.
It's really true. I guarantee it.
Anyway, with that harsh
to answer Delphi's question real quick, it can be agreed upon whatever the heck y'all want. Just have it in writing.
Yep.
That's and take a screenshot of it. That way they can't come back and say they did something that we weren't okay with. Well, now you have it in writing saying they were. Yeah. So just
have it in writing, get a photocopy of it, and submit it to your local Tranquility admins when you get the approval for it. So there you go. There is the official ruling on that. Next up, we're going to talk about our rostering players, which this is a lot of slides to go over the new rostering players process, Yeti, but let's start with the first ruling of the rostering players.
All right, hold on. Just 1 second.
By all means.
Drink break. Anyways, so rosters, we've already talked about how they're going to be adjusted for the new ranking terminology. That's all here. I'm not going to get into that right now. So the biggest thing here is the highlight of the secondary portion there, the Tranquility. There's one part here that says Tranquility staff at discretion may use prior season's ranks depending on circumstances due to rank decay occurring between seasons. With the rank decay being in place, if there's a circumstance where, there's just a clear fall, and you haven't played, we're going to use your prior seasons. If you've played a couple rank up since then, we'll use your current season. It just kind of depends on the scenario, but we need to see a clear and present, like, we need to see something that's clear and present for what your appropriate SR will be. So there's going to be a little bit of discretion there from tier directors to be able to determine what makes sense for you. If you're a person who played 150 games in season 2 here, and then next season you drop your rank and then you don't play any, but you want to use your season 3 rank, do you really think we're going to be okay with that? No, we're not. There's a clear decay there. But if you played a few rank ups since then, and it's probably going to be roughly in the same spot afterwards, we might be willing and able to use it. It just kind of depends on the scenarios. You're going to be leaning a lot on your tier directors to have these discussions, and you're also going to be leaning a lot on myself and Cavalier in leadership as well, which is something we'll be talking about a little bit later. So hold tight to that here, guys. And then I mentioned in here as well, just a discussion about, if you we want team GMs to submit things in a nice, clean way rather than just slamming screenshots in somebody's DMs on Discord. Send us a Google Drive file, please. For the love of God. For the love of God.
Google Drive or Zip.
Yes,
something clean, something that doesn't take up 500 lines of text, please.
Take it from Thug. The poor man. He's been doing this for so many years, his mustache fell out.
He somehow keeps growing it back, but
It's true. It's true.
he's trying to cover it up.
He'll be back next time you see me on the podcast, I swear.
That's true.
He's on tomorrow. No, but
Definitely not.
But yeah, definitely make it neat. This is just the basic stuff, but there's a lot more to go over this, Mr. Yeti. Heading on to the next part of this extremely long 2.1 rule.
Yes, 2.1. All right, so this is simple. Well, this is what we just talked about here. No, this one. Sorry, next one. Sorry, I'm looking at too many screens here. This next one, the first part here, the significant change. Each player must have had an account that has played a minimum of 50 hours played cumulatively in either quick play or competitive, or an account that in Overwatch 1 that played in Overwatch 1 that has that logo picture in their profile that shows a minimum of level 100. With levels being gone, we don't have a way to verify that we're okay accepting a player. So right now we put 50 hours in. It ended up being roughly equivalent to what it took to get to 100 hours. Roughly, it's not perfect by any means, and we reserve the right to reevaluate that. But that is our current plan, is 50 hours for accounts here. You need to have at least one account with a minimum of that. Odds are that's going to rarely come up, but it is something that we need to keep in close mind here. For a point of reference for us. We did clarify the GM and coaches ringing rule, because that keeps coming up constantly. GMs and coaches can ring for their team if they qualify by SR. However, GMs and coaches cannot ring for other teams in the same tier that they coach or manage in. That is considered a conflict of interest. You cannot ring for teams that you're not part of. That you're not part of in the same tier. That's not something we want to.
Yucky.
That's yucky.
Yeah,
that's
yucky.
Last couple things here. We changed how, if the tier director and assistant tier director, we might ask you to complete a bunch of ranked matches. There's just a possibility of that before we're willing and able to approve your addition. Because again, we want to try to figure out what your appropriate rank is, and that just is a part of the process. Sometimes we're going to need you to play more games. So if we're not sure, we're going to take it cautious. We're not gonna just let somebody sneak through. Role restrictions here as well. The big one is if a player, a role restricted player, can only drop their peak rank by a qualification of 3 skill, or drop their rank for qualification by 3 skill tiers. It's the equivalent to 300. So yeah. Lexi, to answer your question here, yes, as long as the games played make it look efficient. We're reserving the right to use the prior season if it's what seems logical given how your profile works out. So more than likely, if you're looking at it reasonably, it's probably going to be using the higher of the two in most cases, especially early in a season. But again, it's going to depend on circumstances. And I realize that's not great. I can't give a great perfect answer, but we're not going to screw you. We're going to be pretty lenient on it, pretty respectful, but at the same time, we're also going to have to do what we have to do. So, all right. I think I missed. Oh no, I didn't miss anything yet. Yeah, let's.
I don't think you did. Let's move over to the next page of this very long section with the next part.
Yeah. So most of that top part there, guys, is just again explaining how roll locking works. I'm not going to really go into that because most of you know it's all there. You guys know it's the same thing.
We just changed it with instead of SRs. It's
Roll lock rules are not changing.
Yeah.
So
we're just making
sorry,
more easier to understand.
The biggest thing here that's changing is the Transcendence tier legacy cap, 4,300 or Grandmaster 2. Grandmaster 2, by the way, would be equivalent to 4,300 if you're looking at how the rankings would level up.
4,000 it's like golf PDK. It's like golf.
Yeah, it's like golf.
Yeah,
PDK.
pretty much.
But 44,000 is GM5, 41,000 or 4,100, sorry, is GM4, 4,200 is GM3, 4,300 then is GM2. So 4,300 or GM2, that is our new legacy cutoff. It was 4,500. We're bringing it down. We acknowledge it was a bad call to go to 4,500 last season or this season. We're going to change to adjust for it.
Yeah.
It's necessary. And yeah, it's absolutely necessary. Somebody asked the question like, well, how can we prove that that's going to be okay? Go to the next slide. Or how can we prove that people are going to follow this? Okay. Here's the problem is we can't necessarily.
Mm-hmm.
Like that's with the way that they're doing things right now, we'll have access to limited information. It's going to be a lot of it's going to be honor system, which I realize, oh boy. But here's the thing. It's in general, when we say it's on your honor system, people tend to listen to that in our experiences. Like I realize you laugh at the concept, but it's been relatively well followed. It's been pretty good. But if we find out that somebody on your team is violating it, we're just going to kick you all out of the tournament.
Yeah.
So just to be honest, like it's we can't.
He's choking on his words over there.
We can't tolerate it.
I mean, it is a long section, so I'll give him some credit for that. But
that's true.
Yeah.
So,
but yeah.
And then just the last part here about substitutes and things like that. We just added in a clause that says you could waive the no min-map substitutions at your discretion.
Yep.
People were asking if they could waive it. Now we just say you can if you want, but you don't have to. So.
Yeah, and also the fact that we now need a minimum of 5 people, considering those shifts to Overwatch 2, one less person. You need now at least 3 roster players instead of at least 4 people on your team. So that makes it easy for trying to find ringers. I hope, but still, like, basic rules here that are pretty much being dragged over to different seasons, albeit with the honor system being implemented and the change in the legacy cap for Transcendence tier. So definitely some interesting things there. Any questions you want to take in the chat here, Yeti, before we move on to our next point, or no? Because I see a lot of questions being
Will
asked.
TDs be available during the trial process to ask about where a player would be locked? Yes, we'll be available. Of course, absolutely. Are we keeping the tank roll lock thing? No, that was put in this season because we wanted to allow for teams who were playing with 2 tanks, because there was 2 tanks before, to not feel like they needed to just drop a tank because it wasn't ideal to have 2 anymore.
Right.
So it gave a little bit of leeway to say, it's okay to keep that tank on. Now the game is a 5 person game, so having the tank roll lock that way just isn't. The purpose of that was to avoid a mass roster exodus. Now teams have to build with this in mind moving into next season. So we're not going to be having the tank roll lock 1 map thing anymore. That's going away.
Yeah. And also the fact that, if we had to force people to remove a tank off their roster, or people had to remove a tank off their roster, that would have been a mess in SR calculations. So it's made it easier for this season. Next season, just something to think about when you're building your rosters. Those full flex players could come in handy. Teams.
True.
But regardless of which, now let's move over to another big point. If there's no other questions on this, we are now heading into a new point here. Rule 2.7, Mr. Yeti.
New rule for this season, guys. Basically, it's us saying that we can look at your stuff if it makes sense. We have the right to say you just can't play. We don't want to do that. We do that very infrequently, mind you. Mm-hmm. It is something we've barely ever touched on. Staff, we just reserve the right to make appropriate judgment calls. Now, here's the key clause that I'm going to point out. And it's going to be touched on a little bit later as well. The final decisions on player eligibility are going to rest with Cavalier and myself. It's no longer going to be in tier director's hands. We are stripping them of that responsibility for reasons we'll get into later. It's nothing that tier directors did, but it's more to protect them from potential accusations of shenaniganry that, again, haven't happened, but we are, again, wanting to focus on taking away that perception that there could be biases impacting those decisions and instead put them purely on me. You're going to see a lot more about that. That's a big part of our rule changes going into next season. Just stay tuned, guys. I know some of you might be confused right now. Okay.
Yeah.
So stay with me here.
PDK.
Yeah. Don't worry. This is just to make sure that, you know, any sort of tomfoolery that could happen is not going to happen, pretty much. So, but and unfortunately means I won't be able to play anymore. But that's besides the point.
Nope.
That's besides the point. But anyway, I'm joking. I'm just kidding. No one's going to get restricted unless it's a very severe cause, and we feel like it is necessary toward the integrity of the tournament. But that's besides the point. That will get covered when it actually gets covered.
You guys think you're so cute talking shit in chat. Papa Cav's here. Watch your shit, y'all.
Yeah, Papa Cav is watching.
Yeah,
he's always watching.
Yeah, he's
a lurker.
always watching.
He
It's
sees
frightening,
you.
actually.
He sees you every
Right.
time.
Yeah, you think of Santa Claus coming down your chimney? It's Cavalier.
Yeah.
And he's probably got whiskey. But anyway,
He's got whiskey or Tranquility merch at shop.spreadshirt.com/tranquilityGG. But that's
What was that one more time?
That was shop.spreadshirt.com/tranquilityGG.
You're talking too fast. Is there a way that I can see that so it's written or clicked?
Sure thing. I can put it in the chat for you right now with > store in the chat.
that
which
sale,
sales did
thank
for-
you.
that sale isn't accurate, by the way, to say.
Thank God.
Yeah, that sale's still outdated. Blame NPC for that, but
Okay,
regardless,
but that's the link. Okay, if I wanted to see it, perfect. Thank you. I wasn't quite sure.
yeah, no worries. I know I talk fast. It's the caster lifestyle. But that out of the way, let's move over to our next one, Mr. Yeti, and this was a big one because it is our policy on toxicity and harassment.
Yeah, y'all a bunch of toxic. No, in reality, so we're taking a slightly different approach with toxicity next season. What it comes down to is the toxicity policy oftentimes came down to, are they teabagging or are they not teabagging? And that's never been the intent, but it's always been the implication, and that's something we're trying to avoid. So we're just kind of turning this rule around to where people aren't walking on complete eggshells about this idea that I could be perceived as teabagging. But we also want to eliminate just general bad mannering of any kind, of general BM, like using some sprays, using some emotes, whatever. Nobody's gonna go crazy about that. You know, it's not a big deal. But if you're being just a dick, just like a general dick, just to try to tilt your opponent, we're going to get you on that. We're going to call that just breaking our rules. Like, if you're just having a little bit of fun, like in general, we're not going to care. And again, the policy remains in place. If you talk to your opponent in advance and say, you know, crouch away, then crouch away, have fun. Like, we're not going to stop you. But if it's a feature match or your opponents don't agree, just play the game and don't mess around. Like, we don't want to punish people. That is a strong, like, some people are like, God, you guys just look for reasons to ban people. No, we don't. If you saw some of the DMs and the fairly mean things that people say in our DMs to us, we don't want to ban you. We don't want to suspend you because it sucks when we do because of the BS that we have to deal with coming back our way. So trust me, we don't like doing this. So please just don't put us in that spot, guys. But there's an addition part to this part that I'm just going to jump right into here.
Sure thing.
We're kind of breaking down how we view in-match toxicity policies or in-match toxicity policy violations. So, like, what we're doing now is basically it's either one game or it's a whole lot of nothing. It's a big old nothing burger. But what ends up happening a lot with, especially with teabagging situations, is people are like, well, look, they crouched once. Is that a teabag? Well, maybe. It could just literally be them fat fingering their crouch button. We don't know. But if it's something that's in question or it's unclear regarding the intent or it's not excessive in the case of things like excessive spraying or excessive BM in general, that's not teabagging or anything like that, we'll just consider it a warning. We use the term yellow card here. It's a little bit of World Cup soccer type reference here. But it is true. Like it's in essence us saying, like, guys, just stop. We're not going to tolerate it. But that being said, like, you still can't teabag. If you're going to actually be a jerk or actually bad manner on somebody, we're just going to give you the straight up red card and just going to say you're suspended, and that's it.
Yep.
Like, if you're just clearly teabagging somebody, it's done. We're not saying you get a free teabag. This rule isn't saying you get a free teabag. That's one thing I will say. You don't get a freebie. No freebies here. It is just that you get a little bit of leeway for us being unsure. Like, we had some instances like that this season where if we're not 100% sure, but we're pretty sure, we'll probably just say it's a yellow, and we'll just probably just kind of lean that way, just out of precaution, or just out of like, just you get it, don't do it again. But if you're being a clear asshole, I'm sorry, it's going to be a red, and we're not going to apologize for it. So just, again, as usual, don't put us in the spots to want to do these things, because God, we don't want, or don't put us in a spot to do these things because we don't want to do these things. But they're here if we have to deal with it.
Yeah, speaking of dealing with, people have to deal with ads.
Thug, you have a special relationship with Teabag. Why don't you tell us about it?
Okay, first off,
While we're waiting for the ads to come back, this is perfect.
We do have ads going on right now, so
Might as well talk about it for all the people who are subscribed to our channel. Smile.
exactly.
yeah. So here's the thing. Teabagging is as Yeti said, we don't like suspending people, but we have to be consistent, and consistency is what we do. If there's precedence, if we start doing it, we have to consistently do it and act in a similar manner throughout. It's very frustrating. We understand, I wasn't trying to be toxic, things like that. We have to draw a line somewhere, else it goes crazy. Hell, I even banned myself or suspended myself. I suspended a teammate the week prior. So there's nobody that wants to do that. That's not what we're doing. I think this is a really good step into kind of listening to what the community said as, I'm not trying to be a dick. We kind of let you get if you agree with it, teabag away, do whatever you want. There are a lot of this season we're like, gosh, shoot, everything about this looks like a teabag. We listen to the player, they're saying that, but we've suspended somebody every other time. We have to do it, or else then it creates like this ripple effect. This is a good example. There's several times we would use the yellow card this season.
Yep. Oh yeah, 100%.
Here's a yellow card. If it happens again, then it wasn't an accident.
Right.
Figure it out.
Right. Exactly. That's kind of going to be the philosophy that we have on that in general. And obviously things like history are important to consider here too. Like, that's one thing we do mention. If you're doing it over and over again, the punishment's going to be different.
Yeah.
Yes, yellow cards last the whole season.
Yes. Yellow card lasts the whole season. I answered it in chat, but it's
I didn't say my bad.
Yeah.
No, it's all good. It's all good. I got you covered. I got you.
Yeah, that's the general consensus. I see also people saying, like, I saw someone saying like they spam voice lines a lot. People are saying that they use sprays a lot. Those shouldn't count unless they are like intentionally targeting somebody. Like, I would say if you're spraying every dead body that you kill, that's considered probably a violation. That could be considered a yellow card or a red card.
It depends on scenarios, guys.
Yep.
Like, we're not gonna sit here
we're not gonna sit here at our desk and just make an assumption and just go immediately for the red card. We're gonna look at the situation, we're gonna look it over, and we're gonna see what it entails and if it really is an intentional matter of bad manners that we are dealing with here. So
so here's a good thing too is there's a thing that we have as humans. It's a voice. Whether it's verbal or typing, talk to the other team. Like, have your GM reach out to their captain, reach out, be like, hey, so-and-so players repeatedly spamming voice lines. Could you ask them to stop? Simple as that. Right. It's just about communicating and making this a fun place for everybody to play. And if it's
politely asking seems to have gone the route of everybody instead just rulebooking people. Just ask. Yeah. Just politely ask. Like, usually people are chill. Like, and if they're not chill, then we'll get involved and tell them to chill. Like, in the end, we are a for fun tournament, guys. And like, just don't put us in the spot. That's all we ever ask is don't put us in the spot to where we have to do something or say something and get involved.
Yeah. Like, and worst comes to worst, if the voice lines and they say Chivalry is dead is getting way too annoying from you, Overwatch has a squelch chat feature.
And
they say Chivalry is dead. But if that's getting too annoying for you, there is a squelch chat feature, so you can turn that off, so you don't have to deal with hearing Doomfist constantly screaming the same three words in your head for the rest of your life. So you don't have to worry too much about voice lines, but just keep it in mind. All right. That seems to be all for our toxicity policy.
Yes.
I believe so. So let's move over to our next thing, which is some other new things that we're taking into consideration this season.
So we're getting close to the end here, guys. Thanks for sticking with us here. First and foremost, match recording. We aren't requiring this. We're just basically saying y'all should do it.
Mm-hmm.
In the end, having a perspective of your team's viewpoints where you could review match chat or where you can review like certain things that are being said, or if somebody makes an accusation that you're violating like our communications policy or something like that, if you have a match chat to lean on to show us that that's not happening, or a match recording, pardon me, then you're good. So record your perspective, guys. It just goes a long way. Even if you're just saving a VOD, like just save a VOD, it goes a long way. Makes your life way easier. Just try it.
Yeah.
Try it. I'd highly recommend it.
It's easy as well because, I mean, a lot of people already stream their perspective. So
Yeah.
you just have one person stream their perspective on your team and you're golden on that rule. So there you go.
Right.
Just make sure you save the VOD.
So there's something here that I'm going to touch on, and we're going to transfer it over to the next section here. It goes into, well, actually, can we just go to the next section? Because this kind of part kind of bounces back and forth here.
Yeah, sure thing.
Yeah, go to the next section. So first and foremost here, talking about splitting divisions between tier directors. One big change is tier directors can no longer hold any sort of leadership positions for teams. They can hold a coaching position, but they cannot hold any sort of leadership positions. What we're doing, initially our thought was we are not going to let tier directors participate in the tiers they manage. The biggest concern we have is the perception that these tier directors could make decisions that would influence the results of the tournament, whether that be player eligibility due to disciplinary action or a player eligibility due to SR problem where they just don't qualify or they theoretically could not qualify. Now, we don't have actually any specific instances where we can clearly say right now that any of our tier directors who were doing that this season or in prior seasons have gone against that. Some people may view that a little bit differently, but that hasn't been the case. And in most situations, Cav or myself have made the call. So you're not seeing that problem right now, but actually having it in writing, basically we are stripping them of that capability to make those is recording matches including feature matches? Yes, sorry. We're stripping tier directors of their ability to, or not their ability, but like the responsibility to have to make these calls. It's going to fall to us. Part of, and I say us, that means Cavalier and myself, the commissioner and deputy commissioner. We are taking all of those scenarios where if it's a person's eligibility in question or disciplinary action where a suspension might be involved, the decision is going to rest with Cav and myself. The tier directors are completely absolved of these situations. The reason is we just don't want to have people who are playing in the tournament making decisions for this. It's a perspective, it's a conflict of interest issue, it's a perspective issue, it's an optics issue. We shouldn't have people who are playing in a tier make decisions about their tier. That just is where we feel like we need to draw that line. So what we're going to do in order to, again, we want to open up the door. We want to open up the curtain. We're trying to pull back the curtain a little bit because we want to remove this idea that it's just a bunch of boomers sitting around saying who cannot play and who can play. We don't, that's not what we're doing. What's happening is actual real discussions and actual real, questions about everything going on. Like, how do we approach it? What's the best way to handle it? Can we confirm whether or not we feel like this player is eligible? So what we're going to do, if you go back to the previous slide, is we're going to have a public log. So anytime we are conducting any sort of review to whether or not a player is eligible to play, this includes disciplinary actions. This includes SR review. This includes profile reviews of any kind. They are going to be updated by Cav and myself for full oversight from the community. We are trying to open the doors and pull back the curtain and say, guys, we aren't doing this to screw any person. We aren't doing this to screw any individuals. We are doing it to be fair and consistent. And that is our goal. So we are completely pulling back the curtain on this, guys. We want you to see it. And if there's an issue, we want you to be able to feel that you can hold us accountable for things as well. This is in many ways your way of holding us to the standard that you expect Tranquility to be at. We want you to feel confident that we are making the right decisions for the entirety of the tournament. Now, obviously, we're not going to be perfect, nor will we advertise that we are perfect. But what we do really want to highlight is that we are going to focus on making decisions that are transparent for all involved in the community so they can be viewed and understood at any given time. Now, obviously, we're not going to dox people. We're not going to put inappropriate information into this log, but it is going to be detailed reasons as to why and how we are approaching our business when it comes to player eligibility.
I think it's something to touch on. If there's any confusion, it's not just Yeti and Cav making decisions for the whole.
Right.
They're still talking to
No.
the tier directors. The tier directors and the admin staff and the mod staff will still have input, say their piece, talk about the information they have. Here's what I do. Here's what I think we would do. And to be frank, a lot of the conversations that have been happening, and Yeti alluded it to, is, and as a tier director, if I felt I was involved in any way, shape, or form, or I would have benefited or perceived to have benefit, I walk back out of it.
Right.
I'm not gonna. I close Discord and walk away.
Right.
That's still gonna happen. There's still gonna be a lot of conversations about it.
Mm-hmm.
But at the end of the day, once all the information's there, Yeti and Cav are gonna come together, look at it all, and make a decision going forward.
Right.
So it's not Yeti and Cav making decisions, and the admins and tier directors are just existing. Right. They're involved in it. Just the final decision is going to be theirs.
And the biggest thing, again, for us is we want to be transparent with you guys. We are pulling back the curtain so you guys can see what goes on in these conversations. So you can see that what we're trying to accomplish with everything we do. This is all it's regarding. This is us trying to say is we want you guys to see into what we're doing on a weekly basis and understand like what goes through these processes. This is purely us allowing to open up that curtain. And again, the oversight aspect is important. You guys will see what we're doing. There's no mysteries. It'll be public information for everybody in the community. So that is a complete community level oversight of what we're doing. We're opening ourselves up to a lot of risk for a lot of complaints from that. And we know that, but we also want to prove to you that we're not doing things to screw over any group of certain people or individuals or anything like that. Other than, of course, PDK. So,
F that guy.
Yeah, F that guy. But anyways,
kid, so.
Yes. So effectively, tier directors, they're still going to be able to play. They won't be able to hold a leadership position, but they'll be able to play. But anything where there could be a situation where there's a problem, we will take care of it. So.
There you go. So there you go, Mr. Yeti, making sure that is clear. Obviously, this player eligibility log going to open up a lot more transparency here in Tranquility, hoping it'll be a good move. Does that lead us to our final slide here, Mr. Yeti, on what I have here? I'm guessing.
I don't think it's updated.
Do you? I think he has the updated version.
I believe I do. I will. I'll show it on.
Well, we will find out.
We'll find out now.
We've already announced it all. So none of it is.
Most of this is already. Most of this is already known news. So there you go.
So nothing new here. Just again highlighting who the tier directors are going to be and their contact information. You'll see.
I don't like seeing my name crossed out. It makes me sad.
Well, that's your fault.
Yeah, that's
I mean, it really is. Like
it is your fault.
Right. These rules, for reference for everybody, they will be posted to announcements here yet tonight. So you're not just going to have to look at this to figure out everything.
Yeah, you won't.
You can actually, you can go back and actually look at stuff. We're not just saying like, go look at the podcast. No, we'll post these rules so you can see them. So there's no hiding anything. No, we're not going to send you down the rabbit hole for stuff. It's all going to be there.
We've never hidden the rules. It's always been in the exact same spot called tournament rules.
No, that you expect too much of people.
Yeah,
you expect too much.
Yeah.
Yeah, go on. Sorry.
I was gonna say, like, you won't have to get a magnifying glass to see these very tiny slides for such a big rulebook. You'll be able to open up the document and be able to see everything as we got it all set.
Yeah, absolutely. So that's the end of our slides here. Obviously, if there's any questions, feel free to ask them now. But the biggest thing that I would say for everybody again is from an administrative perspective, the biggest thing we're going into next season is about improving our transparency. That's a big part of our changes we want to go into next season, is really working on that aspect here and focusing on how can we as a staff kind of, again, pull back the curtain, let you see the inner workings of Tranquility.
Yep.
So you understand that we aren't out to screw any group of people or individuals over. It is literally us just saying, like, you can look at it, like, here's everything, nothing is being hidden. The doors will be open. So
transparent marketing, pretty
right
much.
Exactly.
Yeah.
Lock-in date, preseason date, that'll be announced a little bit later on, so that none of that is settled yet. It just, the start date was announced today, the week of February 27th.
Yep, which I have right up here now on the slide, so you can all see when the season started. So if you wanted to ask that question, which we covered at the start and now we covered at the end, so it's basically like a book. It's a book cover.
If there's any other questions, I did see one pop up in leadership chat. I'm going to highlight it here just in case anybody had any question. Somebody said, going into season 10 for previous seasons that are being looked at, will Trank be looking at just Overwatch 2 SR, or will you also be looking at the last Overwatch 1 season? It goes back to, again, the last 3 seasons. So if season 3 of Overwatch 2 is the next season that we review, we'll look at the last 3 seasons for that 3 seasons of eligibility part of our rules. So that part isn't going away. It's staying the same. Our legacy caps are still being affected by Overwatch 1 SR, however. So that hasn't gone away.
Yep. Just pretty much, if you know our old structure, past 3 seasons, that's the one you're going to be doing. That's how we're going to be following it into next season. So you don't have to worry about looking for information for season 24, because A, you can't, and B, you won't need to. So,
right. One question did came up about the off-season plans. We do have plans. They're not announced yet, but we do have plans. So stay tuned. There are going to be Tranquility events happening during our off-season here. As of right now, to my knowledge, I believe as of last discussion here, we have plans for 2 different events that'll be taking place through the off season. So there will definitely be stuff to do here in Tranquility. So look for announcements. Our events team, being led by Chimanzi and Gios, are doing an awesome job putting together some really cool events going for that. Yeah, it'll be fantastic.
Yeah.
Yeah, Pyro, honor system, and if we find something that tells us you're lying, you are just so gone, it's not even funny. Mm-hmm. So, and your whole team will be impacted too. So, yeah. So,
don't do it.
Don't do it.
It's
Can't
not,
boil it down any
not
simpler.
Worth it. It isn't worth it. Trust me, it is not worth it. As someone who was with a bunch of Smurfs on his second team in competitive Overwatch, it ain't worth it. It just isn't. So.
All right, PDK just made the forbidden joke. Don't joke about that.
Yeah, please do not. There's a reason you got that, but yeah.
Anyways, yeah. Again, any other questions? We want to go ahead and answer those here before we truck out of here. But I don't know that necessarily anybody has any more. So
I don't think so.
Yeah,
I think we're all good on questions, which is
cool.
Good.
Yeah, guys. We're super excited. That's all I can say. We're
Yeah.
so excited for next season, y'all.
Double digits.
It's going to be great. Double digits. All-Star info. It'll be out soon. Hang tight. We're getting there.
Yep.
Hang tight.
Don't worry. We'll be getting that All-Star info out, and we'll be getting everything set for that when we can. So we're getting that all
asking
sorted.
for a little bit of patience.
Yeah.
But you'll hear about it soon.
Yeah,
Good one.
it's been a mess between college finals, the holiday season. Everything's kind of all up in the air, but hopefully we'll be able to get those All-Star information out.
Very soon.
Soon trademark. But now we're going to close out this before we head over into our final section, which we're going to be talking about. No, we're not going to be talking about. I'm going to be showcasing something else. Our final comms check of the season. Iconic was super nice enough to not construct only the montage, but also to make our final comms check of the season. So thank you once again, Iconic, for constructing our final Season 9 comms check.
I'm powering up, guys.
Just powering up.
Okay, I'm good.
Yo,
Care.
thank you.
Oh wait,
I said care.
Let's go first.
I forgot to leave my
Bill?
tab sheet.
Baby, just be baby dad.
Coming back. I'm almost there.
Hi,
Nice.
Sophie. Why are you yelling at me? What's wrong? It's okay.
We Wendy's.
I'm feeling feisty tonight, so if you can
Yeah.
screw yous, all that in the chat, just pay zero attention to it.
You know, we kind of did that last time in playoffs and it didn't work.
You Phoenix.
Okay.
Nice.
Hey, yo, let's chase this. Let's chase this.
We bit out a.
What?
It is not me. I am fucking here.
No.
Tell them, hey, give me everything tonight. Give me everything tonight.
Give it.
I
don't get tomorrow.
Someone's coming to point, so turn.
Let's go!
The curse is broken!
The curse is broken!
Holy hell. I don't know what that was. It was
Y'all gave me a heart attack.
He's one. He's one.
Oh, come on! Come on! Listen there! Listen there!
Let's go! Let's go! Welcome back, everybody. Thank you again, Iconic, for that amazing comms check video. Really good to see our final comms check of the season end on such a high note with Ace High screaming into our ears.
Great.
Great.
I love it.
That's a classic hypno stream.
That's besides the point.
Classic hypno moment right there.
Yeah, definitely. It is a classic hypno moment. All right. Now, our info drop has been complete. The rules will be out. Again, the rulebook, the updated rulebook will be out on the Tranquility Discord momentarily, probably later tonight. As well, we have our announcements for this week. Of course, we've already mentioned our Transcendence Tier Finals on Wednesday, but we also have 2 other matches this week, Mr. Yeti.
Yeah.
Yeah. We're not going to specify them.
No.
Take a guess.
Yeah. Tuesday is going to be great, guys. Harmony Tier feature match between Ace High and Geometric. Winner going to the grand finals there to take on the winner of the matchup between the ever surprising, continuing to amaze, somehow beat Flashbacks. Narwhal connects. I shouldn't say that because that's just mean, but it's true. It's crazy upset. Still can't get over it. Sorry, Thug. Sorry, their match versus Koala Kings. That's next week as well. So, but we'll be featuring Ace High versus Geometric, and then Wednesday, obviously the grand finals. We already highlighted that. Thursday, Reminiscence. I'm sorry, not Reminiscence. Pardon me. Or it is Reminiscence. Sorry, Reminiscence versus Joey Esports on Thursday. So we'll see a couple of previous champions, season 7 champion and season 6 champions, taking each other on. Should be a great matchup.
That will definitely be a very fun matchup. A lot of great matchups this week to determine not only a champion, but also who is going to contend for a championship next week. There's going to be a lot of interesting matches, and we're hoping to see some very interesting gameplay through all of it. And we'll see how it all turns out. But is there anything else that you two want to mention before I announce our giveaway winner for a t-shirt from the Tranquility store? Not all at once.
Nope.
Right.
I'm good.
All right. Well, in that case, I am happy to announce our giveaway winner for a free t-shirt from the Tranquility store. Can I get a random number generator and or drum roll, please?
Yes.
Thank you very much, my good sir. The winner is Gios. The Chobi streak has been broken by Gios. Congratulations, Gios, from winning a free shirt from the Tranquility Gaming store. We'll be getting in contact with you later to be able to secure all the details for that. But that is going to do it for us here today. For Mr. Yeti and Thuggington, my name is Ben Balsey. We thank you all for gazing into the iris with us here tonight. Until we meet again, we hope you have an amazing night and an amazing week in Tranquility Gaming.
Experience tranquility. Pass into the iris.